प्रभुपाद की, अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की, निताय गौर प्रेमानंदे, हरि हरि बोल। We have the Bhava Jnana prayers in the book. Bhava Jnana prayers in the book. So again, a very very warm welcome everybody for our Sunday feast program. Thank you so much. Thank you. Warm welcome for our Sunday feast program. Today we will be discussing from Bhagavad Gita, chapter 6, text number 30. We'll discuss that verse. On the yellow book, the verse is on page number 282 and purport translation of 283. So again, chapter 6, text 30. So before we begin our class, we'll say our prayers. Om Jnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Patakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Haripriye Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya evacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Nama om Vishnupadaya Krishna Preshthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktarunda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
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 So, since we're a small crowd here, just wanted to let you know that the prayers that we sing before reading Bhagavad Gita is basically asking permission from our spiritual master and also blessings. So the first verse of the prayers actually means my spiritual master opened my darkened eyes and exposed me to the transcendental knowledge. Right. So without the spiritual master, we are not able to discuss anything on the Bhagavad Gita. Or let's put it this way: we are not eligible to discuss anything relating to Bhagavad Gita or any of the Vedic scriptures without the permission, blessings, and the mercy of our spiritual master. Despite n number of material qualifications that we may have next to our names, none of that is, is enough or even good enough for us to discuss on the Bhagavad Gita, right? So the prayers that we say are basically requesting the spiritual master, requesting the Parampara, requesting Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, requesting Krishna, Radharani, and Srila Prabhupada to enable us to say a few words, more than saying, actually discussing a few words for our own purification. So that's just a gist of it. If anyone's wondering what we're saying before our classes. So today reading from chapter 6, text 30. Everybody on that page? Okay. Yo mam pashyati sarvatra.
Yo mam pashyati sarvatra.
Sarvam cha mai pashyati.
Sarvam cha mai pashyati.
Tasyaham na pranashyami.
Tasyaham na pranashyami.
Sacha me na pranashyati.
Sacha me na pranashyati.
Yo mam pashyati sarvatra.
Yo mam pashyati sarvatra.
Sarvam cha mai pashyati.
Sarvam cha mai pashyati.
Tasyaham na pranashyami.
Tasyaham na pranashyami.
Sacha me na pranashyati.
Sacha me na pranashyati.
Yo mam pashyati sarvatra.
Yo mam pashyati sarvatra.
Sarvam cha mai pashyati.
Sarvam cha mai pashyati.
Tasyaham na pranashyami.
Tasyaham na pranashyami.
Sacha me na pranashyati.
Sacha me na pranashyati.
Mataji's prayers. Santosh Prabhu.
Yo mam pashyati sarvatra.
Yo mam pashyati sarvatra.
Sarvam cha mai pashyati.
Sarvam cha mai pashyati.
Tasyaham na pranasyami.
Tasyaham na pranashyami.
Sacha me na pranasyati.
Sacha me na pranashyati.
Ramesh Prabhu.
Yo mam pashyati sarvatra.
Yo mam pashyati sarvatra.
Sarvam cha mai pashyati.
Sarvam cha mai pashyati.
Tasyaham na pranashyami.
Tasyaham na pranashyami.
Sacha me na pranashyati.
Sacha me na pranashyati.
Digna Mataji, you want?
Yo mam pashyati sarvatra.
Yo mam pashyati sarvatra.
Sarvam cha mai pashyati.
Sarvam cha mai pashyati.
Tasyaham na parashyami.
Tasyaham na pranashyami.
Sache me na pranasyati.
Sacha me na pranashyati.
Yo mam pashyati sarvatra.
Yo mam pashyati sarvatra.
Sarva cha mai pashyati.
Sarvam cha mai pashyati.
Tasyaham na pranashyami.
Tasyaham na pranashyami.
Sacha me na pranashyati.
Sacha me na pranashyati.
Yo mam pashyati sarvatra.
Yo mam pashyati sarvatra.
Sarvam sa mai pashyati.
Sarvam cha mai pashyati.
Tasyaham na pranashyami.
Tasyaham na pranashyami.
Sacha me na pranashyati.
Sacha me na pranashyati.
Okay. Yaha,
Yaha.
whoever,
Whoever.
mam, pashyati, me, pashyati, sees, sarvatra, everywhere, sarvam, everything, cha, and mai, in me, pashyati, sees, tasya, for him, aham, I, na, not, pranashyami, I am lost, saha, he, cha, also, me, to me, na, nor, pranashyati, is lost. Translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada. Jai Srila Prabhupada. For one who sees me everywhere and sees everything in me, I am never lost, nor is he ever lost to me. Again. For one who sees me everywhere and sees everything in me, I am never lost, nor is he ever lost to me. Purport. A person in Krishna consciousness certainly sees Lord Krishna everywhere, and he sees everything in Lord Krishna. Such a person may appear to see all separate manifestations of the material nature, but in each and every instance he is conscious of Krishna. Knowing that everything is a manifestation of Krishna's energy. Nothing can exist without Krishna, and Krishna is the Lord of everything. This is the basic principle of Krishna consciousness. Krishna consciousness is the development of love of Krishna, a position transcendental even to material liberation. At this stage of Krishna consciousness, beyond self-realization, the devotee becomes one with Krishna in the sense that Krishna becomes everything for the devotee and the devotee becomes full in loving Krishna. An intimate relationship between the Lord and the devotee then exists. In that stage, the living entity can never be annihilated, nor is the personality of Godhead ever out of the sight of the devotee. To merge in Krishna is spiritual annihilation. A devotee takes no such risk. It is stated in the Brahma Samhita 5.38, Premanjana Churita Bhakti Vilochanena Santa Sadaiva Hridayeshu Vilokayanti Yam Shama Sundaramachintya Gunaswarupam Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. I worship the primeval Lord Govinda, who is always seen by the devotee, whose eyes are anointed with the pulp of love. He is seen in his eternal form of Shamsundara, situated within the heart of the devotee. At this stage, Lord Krishna never disappears from the sight of the devotee, nor does the devotee ever lose sight of the Lord. In the case of a yogi who sees the Lord as Paramatma within the heart, the same applies. Such a yogi turns into a pure devotee and cannot bear to live for a moment without seeing the Lord within himself. Hare Krishna. So in text number 29 and 30, in this chapter of Dhyana Yoga, is talking about a devotee who, is talking about a yogi who's reached the actual, let's say, ultimatum of Dhyana Yoga, which is the realization of the Lord. In one sense, we would say that the 29 and 30 explains how a Krishna conscious person fulfills the vision of a perfect yogi. Actually, a Krishna conscious person is considered to be the perfect yogi, right? We may not be doing all the things that is described here as what a yogi does. Previously in this chapter, and previously it was discussed. He sits on a mat and goes to a place where he stays in seclusion and so many other things. The traditional characteristics of practicing Dhyana Yogi. We may not be doing all of that, right? For all practical reasons, but still, a Krishna conscious a person practicing Krishna consciousness is considered to be a perfect yogi. And text number 29 and 30 talks explains how the vision of a Krishna conscious person is of a perfect yogi. A Krishna conscious person is the vision of a Krishna conscious person is that of a perfect yogi. So, um, um, a, what a yogi, what a person who's practicing dhyana yogi should do after years and maybe even lifetimes of practice is he should come up to the point of seeing the hand of Lord everywhere and the Lord everywhere, right? When we see that seeing the Lord everywhere, right here Prabhupada is saying that such a person may appear to see all separate manifestations of the material nature, but in each and every instance he is conscious of Krishna, knowing that everything is a manifestation of Krishna's energy. He sees everything as a manifestation of Krishna's energy. What does that mean? What does that tell us? Anybody?
Suppose he gives credit to Krishna for whatever he sees in that material.
Like if I were to ask you practically, like if I would ask you to give me like a tangible incident, what incident or instance for that matter?
I'll give you an incident. I work for a company which is in IT. It has undergone 3 layoffs in the last 5 years. And every time people were laid off, I went through that fear of maybe it could be me in the next list. But if I'm working with the company still, I give credit to Lord Krishna. And that is what is a real manifestation of whatever is I'm able to afford. I'm able to come here and be part of this congregation is because of him.
Correct. Okay, so you're seeing, so if I were to summarize what you say, you're seeing that whether you're being laid off or not, whether the fact that you're having a job is, you're saying that it is, you see Krishna there, that in your situation, okay? Anything else?
Whatever material gain or loss,
Again, whatever material gain or loss, we see it as Krishna's desire or Krishna's manifestation. So if I were to say something more tangible, say we've all been to Niagara Falls, or we have seen what is that the famous thing, Lake Banff in where is it?
Calgary.
Calgary. So when a person looks at Niagara Falls, right? It's not a man-made structure. It's happened naturally over. So its beauty. Maybe now after going 10 times we may not notice the beauty anymore. But the first time we ever saw it, we must have felt like, wow, what a place, right? Or when we would have gone to Hare Krishna Maharaj, please come. Or when we would have gone to Banff, for example, and you see those clear crystal, those blue waters, we might that view itself might have been like very much breathtaking, no, right? So all these wonders, or even sometimes in the night, if we are able to see in the dark sky, if you're able to see all these stars, right, we might appreciate its beauty. Wow, what a great beauty. Or if you would have gone to the zoo and if you had seen like a ferocious lion or a quick moving cheetah or things where we don't see on a normal day, right, we might see like, oh wow, this animal is crazy and it's very ferocious, or this giraffe is so tall, or this elephant is very massive, you know. So we look at it and we appreciate. Normal people will look at it and appreciate it. But a perfect yogi or a true Krishna conscious person will look at it and say that, wow, look at Krishna's creation, right? It might not be Krishna's direct creation. It can be through one of his energies, right? Krishna has probably appointed Brahma. Let's say that you create varieties of creatures on this planet. You create these valleys and peaks. You create these big skies. You create the deep oceans. And a Krishna conscious person will look through that lens. That, oh, look at Krishna's magnanimity. Look at it, the power of his energy. That just by this energy, such a beautiful thing has been created. Such a beautiful, or look at the sky, or when somebody shows us in this National Geographical channel, they show all these planets going around the sun. You might think, wow, what is the power of Krishna, that he's put all these planets in the orbit, floating in thin air, and all of this aspect. You know, when you think about it, when you if you really spend some time thinking behind how this beauty is a beauty, then you actually if you think about the Lord in between, that the only answer is this is the power of the Lord that can create such beautiful objects. Recently, couple months back, I had taken some of my nieces to Royal Ontario Museum, which is located in downtown. Right? Anybody's been to Royal Ontario Museum? Yeah. So in the museum, they had captured. There were so many photographers from around the world, and they had captured some very terrific pictures, right? In different islands of the world. Many of these countries are places I've never heard of also. And basically it was about an animal photography event or something like that. Different types of birds, different types of creatures. Many of the creatures I don't even know in which category they fall. So there was a place where in an island a bunch of pandas had taken over a house. So a panda was literally like, a window of the house was open and a panda was just like sitting like this, right? It might look like it is an it was probably someone who drew it, but it was actually a real picture, right? So when I was looking, when you look at this picture, or like this type of pictures, for another parrot with like multicolored feathers, right? So when you look at these pictures, you're wondering like, oh, there are creations like this also, because these are things we have not seen before, at least I have not seen before, right? And when we look at this, a normal person look at it and just say wow and just move ahead. But a person who is practicing Krishna consciousness and who is in that conscious of the Lord all the time is able to appreciate this and think of the Lord. So when you look at something and when Lord is coming into your head, always at any aspect, whether it's in the aspect of whether I'm losing a job or getting a job, or it is an aspect of material loss or gain, or whatever situation may be, happiness, sadness, victory, loss, whatever it may be, that aspect of remembering the Lord that comes to us, if it comes to that person very naturally, right, like naturally thinks about the Lord, then you can say that person is a very Krishna conscious person. And that's what Srila Prabhupada means, that in each and every instance that person is conscious of Krishna. We cannot forcefully I'm sorry, we cannot forcefully keep telling our mind, hey, think of Krishna now, think of Krishna now, right? Keep thinking. It's a natural aspect, and this natural aspect comes when one develops an intimate relationship with the Lord, right? Krishna consciousness is all about relationship. It's not that we live in some sort of fear that the Lord is there watching us. Don't do anything wrong because the Lord is watching us. Don't do anything crazy because the Lord is watching us. The Krishna conscious aspect is not about developing fear of the Lord. It's about developing a relationship with the Lord, whether it's the relationship of between like a child and a mother, or whether it's a relationship of a friend, whether it's a relationship of of a very intimate person. That is what the real the practice of Krishna conscious means, right? When one is in a relationship, think about it materially also, right? If we are in if we are having if you have a very strong relationship with our opposite partner, right? When automatically when we'll be thinking, if we see something very nice, we might think that, hey, if I purchase this thing, or if I get this thing, or if I utilize this thing for my better half or my opponent person, it'll be nice. So that natural thought that comes to our head, we don't force our mind to think that, okay, when you see, let's say when you see a flower or when you see a bouquet, that I should go and purchase it. We don't force our mind. It's a natural relationship that has been developed. Or when we would, let's say, even if we have a small child at home, so I have a small child at home. So when I go to Costco or something like that, and if you see like a small cycle or like a small, a play toy or something like that, automatically your child is coming into your head, right? Mataji, maybe your son is big, so maybe when you see a book or something, you might think that, oh no, Dhruv might like this book, or he likes to read, so I'll purchase this book, It comes to your mind. You don't force your mind. Why? Because you have that relationship with the child, right? So that sort of relationship, when one develops with Krishna, then Krishna comes automatically into your head, right? It's just a natural process, and that natural process, like how we have a child and a partner or something, that happens because there was some activity, like the institution of marriage was there, so therefore post that we developed a relationship, or post that when we have a child, and natural relationship is formed. But for a natural relationship to form with the Lord in the situation that we are in, the practice of Krishna consciousness is necessary. So when we practice Krishna consciousness, our consciousness becomes conscious of the Lord, right? So which is why Prabhupada is saying that nothing can exist without Krishna, and Krishna is the Lord of everything. This is the principle of Krishna consciousness. But in order to realize this principle, next line, Srila Prabhupada is saying, Krishna consciousness is the development of love of Krishna. Right. So let's take an example. You see, in the parampara, all the way in the last, you will see the six Goswamis, all dressed in white and white, right? White chadar and white dhoti. Of them, two of the Goswamis are called Rupa Goswami and Sanatana Goswami. So they were at one point of time, they were always Goswamis. Goswami means that one who is not the servant of the senses, rather one who has conquered the senses, or the senses that listen to the person, right? So they were always Goswamis, but they used to work, they were in the time of the Muslim era, where the Muslim rulers were ruling India at that point, and in the area of Bengal, one of them was a finance minister, and other one was a prime minister for the king, and they were at very high posts. They were very well educated Goswamis. They had probably every opulence available to them, which the king had provided: big house, servants of many sorts, whatever food of their liking was available, anything, whatever sort of transportation, whatever they needed was available to them. Very, very opulent and very powerful positions. They were also very influential to the society. They could influence anything if they wanted to. So being at such very powerful positions, cutting short the story, they gave up all of this, gave up their their position, their status, their influence, their power. They left everything. They left, like, literally everything, and exactly as you see them over here, with just a dhoti and chadar on top of them, they just left the place and they started practicing Krishna consciousness. And it is said that they, despite living in a big, let's say like a palatial type of house, they were living under trees. Now, when a person hears this story, it's nice. Okay, oh, they were, Goswamis, and they were able to do this. But let's question ourselves. We cannot compare ourselves to them, but if you were to discuss this, that if we are living in there is a standard of living in which we are living, right? Some standard. Everybody lives by some standard of living, which we consider, yeah, okay, this is basic. This is how we're supposed to live. Maybe we are not living a very luxurious life, but at the same time, we are not living a very mendicant type of life too. We are living in, let's say, some defined standard of life. Overnight, things change, right? Giving a practical example, let's say that your mode of transport to everywhere is a car. You are driving a car. But like Prabhu says, some turmoil happens, we lost our job or something, and we are in like a very critical situation. We have to sell all our non-essential things and live only on the bare minimum. And our mode of transport suddenly from car goes to like a TTC or like a YRT, right? How will we be able to cope up with that suddenly? It will take time, right? Like we won't be able to believe it ourselves that we have fallen down from this position down to this position. Like traveling with a car of our own to taking multiple buses to reach the location, correct? So that mentality itself is quite heartbreaking for us, to be honest. But the Goswamis were able to do it. The Goswamis were able to do it to an extent. They went from palatial living to a mendicant life. And it didn't take them years to do it. It just took them like a night over to change the whole thing. Now the question is, how were they able to do it? What was it that they were able to do it? They were able to see Krishna everywhere, right? They were able to see that the king also, they were able to see the Lord within the king also. They were able to see their positions, everything, all the manifestations around them, the palatial buildings, the wonderful servants, the exotic dishes, every opulence they were able to see in Krishna. But they were not interested in the energies of the Lord, but they were interested with the Lord himself. So therefore, they were able to adapt, they were able to just change, because they were never attached to these things. They were attached to the Lord. And whether they have the opulence or they don't have the opulence, the Lord was always there. To them, this verse is exactly what is speaking about them. Yomam Pashyati Sarvata. They were able to see the Lord everywhere. Because they were able to see the Lord everywhere, and they see everything in the Lord was never lost to them. You know what it does mean? Lost to them means that the Lord was always with them, and they were also with the Lord, right? Sometimes we are with somebody, but that somebody doesn't realize that we are with them. Does that make sense? Right? Two sort of friends are traveling together. One friend is continuously thinking about the other friend. Oh, we are going on this wonderful trip, and we both will enjoy X, Y, Z and all of that. But the other friend is lost. He's thinking of something else. Despite his best friend being there next to him, he's still lost, right? Krishna is always there with us, but we are not in that realization that Krishna is there with us, right? Physically, we might not be able to see him, but his hand is there in everything, right? The realization that the Lord is there with us in every situation means that we are not lost to him and he is not lost to us. That's what it means. That means we both, Lord has always realized that we are there. But if the Lord has to show some interest on us, you also have to show interest. It works both ways, right? So in a relationship works both ways. Does any relationship work one way? No, a relationship is two-way scenario. So that if the realization that the Lord is there with us everywhere and that we are with the Lord every time, that is the relationship, and that is what Prabhupada here is saying, the development of love of Krishna. When we say love of Krishna, love may seem a very a vague word. The definition of love cannot be
Subjective.
Subjective. In material world, every person's love means something else. For one person, love means buying expensive things and giving. For another person, love means spending quality time. For another person, love means just going off on vacations, right? Or going to some other place where it's more peaceful and calm and things like that. For another person, love means just a very blissful environment, right? Different things. But what does love to Krishna means? It means a personal relationship, right? In that relationship, many things can happen, right? So, but a personal relationship, a feeling that the Lord is with us and he's by us, and devoid of fear, devoid of anxiety. It's a more of a natural relationship that we see between human beings in this world. That is a sort of relationship that the Lord is expecting from us. I mean, wants from us. Expecting is not the right word. He wants that relationship with us, and we also should want that relationship. Then it works both ways, right? That is what means development of love. Relationship definitely takes time to make, right? It doesn't happen with a snap of a finger. But Prabhupada is saying we had that relationship once upon a time, but we have forgotten. Now it's time to re-establish that relationship. And so that is the position. It's transcendental even to material liberation. In material world, liberation means, the word liberation in the context of Bhagavad Gita basically means that all of us living entities are controlled by the three modes of material nature: goodness, passion, and ignorance. In other words, to say that Lord's Maya energy is controlling all our activities, or rather, because of that energy, we are the ones making faults left, right, and center. Good things and bad things. Whatever we think we are doing good is also because of the influence of the three modes of material nature, and bad is also the influence of three modes of material nature. Liberation means that we are not anymore controlled by these three modes, and we are in the spiritual platform, right? But spiritual platform not necessarily does not mean that we are in a relationship with the Lord. So there are many sects that are the Mayavadi sects who believe that the Lord has no form, right? Can we develop love for something that has no form? Do we show love to the air? Air does not have form. Do we show love to the air? Because we cannot, not about not seeing it, it doesn't have a form. There needs to be a physical attributes to a certain. When you say thing, a thing means a form. When you say a person, person means a person, someone who can reciprocate, right? So that sort of thing, is the development of love. So liberation can also mean that a certain person is in contact with the formless portion of the Lord. Previously, would have heard in lectures that other devotees would have said that there are 3 steps of realization: Brahman, Paramatma, and Bhagwan. How many have heard of this? Brahman, Paramatma, and Bhagwan. Okay, so in very short, Brahman, Paramatma, and Bhagwan means the Lord, like you see him in the picture, like personalistic form. Paramatma is the Lord situated in the heart. In everyone's heart, in every entity, is the Lord situated in everyone's heart. And Brahman realization is the effulgence or the light emanating from the body of the Lord. So it's the lowest aspect is Brahman, the one above it is Paramatma, and the topmost is Bhagwan. Right? When Srila Prabhupada says you should develop love with Krishna, you should develop a relationship with the Lord, you should have that intimate relationship, that all refers to the Bhagwan realization of the Lord. There are some sects that will preach or that will talk about the impersonalistic aspect. Impersonal means no personal form, or in other words, the Brahman aspect. Their goal is to get liberated from the 3 modes of material nature and merge into that effulgence, right? So when you merge into that effulgence, what they say is that you will be in bliss, right? Like you will basically become standstill. There is no action from your end. Of course, if there's no action, obviously there is no reaction also. So you will just be there in like absolute bliss, doing nothing, right? So that is what liberation means. So here it's saying a position transcendental or higher even to the material liberation. This is still called material liberation, right? This aspect that we explained. But we have to develop love with the Lord. So here is a small incident, a small story that depicts the love of the Lord, right? There was in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, there's one devotee by the name of Mukunda Datta. It's a very good devotee of the Lord. He was into medical business. He was in some sort of medical business. That's what his profession was. He had a son named Raghunandana. So, and in the house they used to worship a deity of Gopinath, right? Deity of Krishna, another name is Gopinath. They used to worship Gopinath. So he told one day, Raghunandan, I'm going to go out for a medical business trip. So in my absence, you offer prasadam to the Lord. No, you cook and you offer to the Lord in my absence. Because Mukunda Datta used to do it every day. He used to cook something and used to put the plate in front of the Lord and say, my dear Lord, please accept your lunch or your dinner. Please accept it. And then he would go. And then he would come back 5-10 minutes later, take out the plate and honor the Lord's, then honor the Mahaprasad, right? When you give it to the Lord, then it only becomes prasad. Before that, it is just food, right? So this was a very good practice, and he used to do it out of love for the Lord. He used to do it, and he'd do it every day. But when he was away on a business trip, then who would take care of the Lord? You see, automatically his mind was like, okay, if I'm going to go away, who's going to offer to the Lord, right? Who's going to do it? Even though he's not going to be there to take the remnants after that, but he's still thinking that my activity of offering is not to take the remnants, but rather to offer to the Lord. See, that is also a love of the thinking naturally, that is also the love of the Lord, right? So he told his son, Raghunandan, please you do it. And he said, yes, father, I'll do it, no problem. So he goes to the market, picks up whatever things that he needs to pick up, purchases the thing, cooks very nicely, offers it to the Lord. Now, how does he offer to the Lord? He goes, my dear Lord, please eat. I have offered the lunch to you. And he sits right there and he watches. And he's watching. The Lord has not come and taken anything. Then he says, my dear Lord, please eat. And he's still looking. And nothing's happening. Nothing moved. The deity is standing right there. He's like, my dear Lord, eat. Please eat. If you don't eat, my father will get angry. Please just come down and eat quickly. I've been sitting here for the last 30 minutes and you're not moving a muscle. Right? Please eat. And then he screams, Lord, please eat. And the Lord was so shaken away by this child's innocence that he actually walked out of the deity, came down, sat cross-legged, and ate everything on the plate and gave the empty plate. And what Raghunandan does, for him, this is normal. If I keep a plate in front of you, Prabhu, we'll just look at the plate and go away. Afterwards, there's going to be prasadam, right? We'll just look at the plate and say, wow, nice samosa, nice this, nice that, okay. Nod your head and get up and walk. No, you're going to eat, right? You're going to eat whatever's in your plate. The boy expected the Lord to do the same because his mind was not tainted with any sort of this material thing. His innocence was so much real that he expected that Lord will come and eat. I mean, expected, it was just, it's very obvious, the Lord will come and eat. That was his mode. And that's why he was telling the Lord, eat, eat, eat. Lord came, he ate, and he went away. He took the empty plate, went inside. Father came back after some time and he said, Raghunandan, did you offer it to the Lord? And what was his reply? Yes, I offered to the Lord. And what did his father, what do you think his father would have asked him?
Bring the plate back.
Huh?
Prasadam.
Where is the prasadam? It's obvious, right? So he said, what prasadam? No, the one that you offered to the Lord, right? Where is the remnant? Lord ate it. He didn't leave anything, right? He cleaned up this plate. What? The Lord ate? Okay, go bring the prasadam, stop jokes and everything. No, the Lord ate. His father went, he saw the plate was empty. The father thought, this nutcase only must have finished everything. And he's telling the Lord ate. So then he said, then again the same thing happened. Raghunandan went and offered. The next time, same incident happened. He asked the Lord to eat. Lord came, Lord ate and went away. So then father came back and asked, he gave the same reply. Father was spellbound. This fellow is doing such an aprad, right? He's going and eating directly from the Lord's plate. What do you think it is? So he said, okay, you offer again. Krishna had just finished eating. He had just finished it. And he said, make one more bhoga and offer it to the Lord. So Raghunandan said, okay, because his father gave him instruction, he cannot say no. He made laddu and everything, and he kept it over there. And he said, okay, you go and offer. He told Raghunandan, go and offer. So he went and offered. So his father's watching from the mirror, from the window in the side. He was watching what's going to happen. And to his surprise, he sees Gopinath comes out of the deity, comes there, and breaks the laddu, eats half a put, pops it in his mouth, and he suddenly turns around and he sees Mukundatta, and he quickly runs back into this deity and becomes a deity, right? And Mukundatta understood immediately, if the Lord wanted, he could have popped the whole laddu inside, but his stomach was already full. For Lord, what is full, what is not full? The whole Brahmanda, the whole earth is sitting on the navel of the Lord. For that person, one laddu is what? Like, if you give one banana to elephant, will it be full? No, right? So he ate half. The Lord is saying, my stomach is full. That's why he ate half a laddu, because that boy asked him to eat. And Mukundatta was shocked. He's like, my boy asked the Lord to eat. And this boy and the Lord actually listened to him. And every day I am just taking the plate, placing it in front of the Lord. Please eat. Your lunch has come. Right? Like, we call waiter, no? Come here. Right? We call the waiter in a restaurant or something like that. We are offering. But here, the Lord is listening to my boy. And from there, Mukundatta says that my son is my father, because he taught me what real devotional service is, what intimate relationship is, how he developed that relationship with the Lord. That is the love of Godhead Prabhupada is talking about, right? I have some more time. I'll tell you one more incident. How many of you have heard of the incident of Sakshi Gopal? Anybody? Okay, good. So many of them don't know. Okay, good. So there were two devotees who had gone on a pilgrimage tour to Vrindavan. One was an elderly Brahmin person, elderly person, and another one was a younger strong devotee. So this elderly person had lots of desires. He wanted to go to Govardhan. He wanted to go to different places in Vrindavan and Govardhan and surrounding places, because they were all talking about the pastimes of the Lord, right? Those that have gone to Vrindavan, I know Prabhu and Mataji's have gone recently. When you go there, you always hear Krishna everywhere in every direction, and everybody wants to go for that pilgrimage trip, rather, to go and visit the holy dham. And it's very natural that this person also wanted to go, and they were coming from a portion of southern India, or around that place near southern India. So in those days, people used to walk, no train, bus, and all of that stuff. So they used to walk, and the old man had a lot of problems. He wanted to drink water every few steps, or some places he couldn't walk, he needed support. So this younger boy was more stronger, so he would hold him, he would carry him in between he would rest down. So this person would go and massage his feet, he would cook something for him and feed him. So all of this he would do throughout the trip. The trip must have lasted for probably a month or 2 months or whatever it was. So he took him everywhere, and everywhere they had beautiful darshans of the Lord. And they went to the Govardhan, they went to Radhakund, Shamkund, all these places, and they enjoyed immensely. When I say enjoyed, they were so blissful. Finally, they came to the deity of Gopal that is located in Vrindavan, a very beautiful deity of the Lord. If you have gone to Vrindavan, you will see sometimes the Lord has these what we call gopi dots, but like very beautifully drawn, colorful dots around going all across the eyelashes and everything like that. So they were very captivated with the Lord. And this elderly gentleman felt so happy looking at the Lord that he told to his younger boy who was traveling with him that I now tell you that I'm so pleased with your service, that you've taken care of me so well, that I'll give my daughter in hand for marriage to you. So this person said, no, please don't do that. I am a young person. I'm not educated. I'm a low class person. Whereas you are a very high class person. You're rich. You're well educated. You people are. Our relations will not match. It will not match. Actually, there are no such things for relation. But keeping in mind the society around at that time, that sort of thing exists even till today also. If you don't, so it's like our relationship will not match. Kindly don't say such thing. He said, no. I promise that I'll give my daughter in hand for marriage once we go back to our village or town, wherever we live. So then he said no, but this person was very insistent. So then this younger person said, in those days, they had this thing that whatever promise you want to give, or whatever you want to give, don't give, or whatever proclamation you want to make, used to go make in front of the deity. Right, in front of the deity, because everybody used to be like, whatever I say in front of the deity, it must be there. That much respect for the Lord in those days. Now, in front of the deity only we'll cheat. We'll cheat the deity itself only now. We'll tell the deity that, I'll give you this, that, and everything. Once the work is done, deity forgone, everything forgone, walked away. You try to cheat Krishna only in today's day. Forget telling lies in front of the deity. Telling lies in front of the deities is easy, but we'll try to double cross the Lord itself. But those days it was not like that. In front of the Lord, they would tell, whatever they would tell, they would stick to that word. So he said, my dear Gopal, today on this so-and-so day, I promise that this young person who has come with me, who has taken care of me, I promise to give my daughter in hand for marriage. Finished. They said that. They walked back to their village. And this old gentleman, once he reached his house, he had a number of sons, relatives, and all of that. He told them that, this young boy, very nice boy, he did so much service for me, and in front of the deity of the Lord in Vrindavan, in Gopal deity, I have promised that I'll give my daughter's hand. Everybody got upset with him. To that fellow, to that low class fellow who's not educated, doesn't have money, doesn't have wealth, why are you going and giving your daughter to him? Right? No, you're not going to give it to him. Tomorrow when he comes and says that, you promised, just tell him that you forgot. Because you're old, your memory is weak, you just say you forgot. And the rest, I'll take it. So the son said, rest, I'll take care of it. So next day the boy came and he said, you told me you'll give me your daughter hand marriage. The son came and he beat him, chased him away with the stick. Right? And so this young boy went and called all the villagers around and said, so this person told me that, you know, you will in front of the deity he promised. Now he's saying that, you know, he doesn't know. And this old man said that, I've never promised, I never said anything like that. I don't remember saying anything like that, right? So then this person said, okay, if Gopal comes here as witness, then will you believe that that you have promised me such a thing? And the villagers also thought that this boy is cheating, right? Because the son said, when he took my father for all this pilgrimage trip, he had a lot of money and everything like that. Now he's taken all of that money, he's fed him some sort of poison. Now my father has lost all his memory. So, and all the villagers are thinking, yeah, it could possibly happen. This fellow has a lot of money. This fellow has no money. So he must have done this to the old man, right? So, but this person then said, I will call Gopal only as witness. If Gopal comes here, then you will believe that whatever I'm saying and whatever this old man has said, as promised, is true. So the old man said, yes, if Gopal comes here to this place, he comes here, then I will give my daughter in hand for marriage. Inside the old man, that old person, he was thinking, Gopal will definitely come because I have promised. Inside his heart, he knows that this boy is telling the truth only. He knows. So if somehow Gopal comes here, then all these people will believe, then I can give my daughter in hand for marriage. The problem is that man was not under his control. He was under control of his relatives, his sons, his wife, and all of that. So everybody in the village said, yes, okay, if Gopal comes. Why will Gopal come for your petty witness? Right? Gopal will not come for all of that. So nobody there thought that, okay, this case is going to die in a few days. This boy goes all the way to Vrindavan. He tells Gopal, you remember that day, just like going in front of Krishna Kanhaiya Lal here and saying, you remember that day that this person said he'll give his daughter in marriage? Now they're saying you have to come over there. Right? And he was speaking to the Lord like I am speaking to you. Right? I'm speaking, you're all listening to me. Right? Like that he was speaking to the Lord, having that conversation. Lord replied, he said, if I come over there, who will believe me? That, I've never heard, Lord is saying, I've never heard of a deity walking from position A to position B. Right? So who will believe? And this person said, if the deity can talk, then the deity can walk. Right? So, and the Lord said, oh, this fellow is quite intelligent. So he said, okay, you walk in the front, I will walk behind you. Every day you cook for me 1 kilo of rice and offer it to me. I will eat because I'll also get tired walking. No? So I'll also need prasadam. So you cook and you give it to me. I will eat. You go. And don't turn around. You will hear my ankle bells making chung, chung, chung sound, which means you know that I'm coming behind you. So you go. Right? So this person said, okay. And he goes all the way and he reaches and every day he was cooking for the Lord, offering to the Lord was having, the ankle bell sounds were coming, he was walking, the Lord was going behind him. He reached outside his village and then he turned around and the Lord said, I told you, if you turn around and see me, I will stay where I am. And the Lord smiled and he stayed. So the Lord went all the way from Vrindavan, which is located in Delhi, Uttar Pradesh, that side, all the way down to southern India, right? And the Lord walked all the way there and he stood there. And when he stood there, this fellow went into the village and seen Gopal has come from Vrindavan as witness. And everybody came, they took darshan of the Lord and the old man cried in front of the Lord and said, yes, I am very sorry that I did this. And everybody, they believed, the Lord is himself coming. And of course, the marriage of the boy and the girl happened very pompously. And from that day, the Lord is known as Sakshi Gopal. The Gopal that came as witness for someone's marriage. Marriage is such a petty thing. I mean, for human beings, this marriage and this children and all. Why should the Lord come for your marriage? Like you're not even the Prime Minister of the country. Prime Minister of the country is not a big deal. But I'm saying you're nothing. That boy was like a simple villager he was a no one. He was a nobody to anybody, right? To such a person, if the Lord has to come, that means this person must have something, some valuable thing for the Lord has to come. And that value is that love for the Lord. That value is that intimate relationship with the Lord. That value is him telling his problems to the Lord and telling the Lord that it is your responsibility to resolve this issue. And that is what is the crux of this verse. That is what the verse is saying, that if you see the Lord everywhere, and if you see the Lord everywhere in everything, the Lord is not lost to you. The Lord is with you and you are also with the Lord. Both are in that realization, the Lord in the realization that my devotee is next to me. is with me, and the devotee is in the realization that Lord is with me, then obviously the ride is very joyful. Whatever obstacles may come, it's gone, right? In the battlefield of Kurukshetra, that side had very powerful people. This side had no people, no powerful people, right? This side, let's, to keep it very simple, this side had 100 people fighting, that side had 1 million people fighting. Who will win? Logically speaking, the 1 million army should win, right? But the 1 million army didn't win. In fact, every single person in that 1 million army was slaughtered. Only the 100 people army won. How did they win? Sanjay says in Dhritarashtra, last verse of this chapter, he told Dhritarashtra that don't get so much confused who will win. Dhritarashtra was doing all this political calculation. This side Bhishma is there, this side Karna is there, they're strong. That side only Bhima is there, only he's strong. Arjuna is okay, he's also strong, but rest are all weak. He said, don't make all these calculations, none of these are useless. He said, Jayastu Pandu Putranam Yesham Paksha Janardana. The sons of Pandu will definitely win. Why? Because the Lord is sitting on their side. The Lord is not taking arms. The Lord is not fighting. The Lord is just riding the horse. Just by riding the horse, the Lord won the match, won the game, won the war for them. Right? Finally, it is said that Arjuna might be super warrior, like the best of the warrior. Bhima might be the super strongest person. Yudhishthir Maharaj may be the most honest person, most truthful person, or most good person. Nakula Sahadeva might be the most humble people. So Kunti might be the one who has made all the sacrifices. Draupadi might have taken an oath. All of these are nothing, or a big zero, right? It is because the Lord was sitting there, they won the war. It is not because of anyone's strength. It is not because of anyone's opulence. It is not because of anyone's brilliance. It is simply because of the Lord that they won the war. And why the Lord went on that side? That intimate relationship he had with Arjuna, and this revelation of the whole Bhagavad Gita, because Arjuna saw Krishna's hand everywhere. Therefore, Krishna was with Arjuna, and Arjuna was with Krishna, and therefore the Pandavas won the war. So our aspect is that when in our small and simple way, if we do our practice of Krishna consciousness, whether it may be chanting, whether it may be gathering around here with devotees, the whole gathering means to discuss about Krishna, right? Whatever activities that we are doing in a small way, whether it's offering to the Lord, our simple offerings, everything, Lord accepts everything, right? Lord is not accepting your things. Lord is accepting the love that you put on the plate and you put in front of him. That is what the Lord is accepting, right? And that is what is required. So I'll end by saying that kindly let us all practice within our own efforts. Our strength of practice will increase by practicing. We practice small and we keep on practicing. The Lord will keep on giving us more strength, more time. Today we might not have time. Today we might have only 5 minutes for the Lord. But if that 5 minutes also, if we use for the Lord, the 5 will become 10, 10 will become 20, 20 will become 30. The Lord will remove all unnecessary things from our life. And he will put himself in the center because you want to put the Lord in the center, right? So kindly, take part in practicing little by little for the Lord in whatever way you can, right? And we'll all progress in Krishna consciousness successfully. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
I don't have too much time, but if anybody did have like a question or two, maybe we can take it. It's 6:15.
You referenced 3 stages. Can you please elaborate a little more on that?
So spiritual realization is of 3 stages, right? Brahman, Paramatma, and Bhagwan. Three stages.
Before that, there was
Oh, 3 modes of material nature. So in this earthly planet or this material world, every human being is controlled by the 3 modes of material nature. When we say modes of material nature, we mean passion, ignorance, and goodness, passion, and ignorance. They influence us to do certain things. So if you're not, so that is why the word Krishna conscious is used. These modes affect our consciousness. if we are if we are in a particular if we are being affected by ignorance, right, we might be doing things like sleeping for I'm just giving very crude examples, right, like it's just very crude, like we might be sleeping for long hours, right, we might be eating more unwanted unnecessary things, drinking more. So these, or if we are in passion, we are very much in like, oh, I want to conquer this, I want to become rich, I want to purchase this, I want to do this, right, I want to, wage war with that person, that sort of mentality. If we are in goodness, also we might think that I want to do more philanthropic activities, I want to build a hospital, I want to distribute a lot of clothes to the people. Mind you, people might think that, hey, but these are all good things only, why are you saying these are not good? But these are all the influence of the modes of material nature, right, that make us do these things. See, when we say such things, sometimes people may question that, is building a hospital for people really bad, or is distributing clothes to the poor people really bad, or distributing food no, it's not bad. There's all good and bad are all subjective, right? Nothing is bad, nothing is bad, nothing is good. The thing is, you do good things, you'll get good karma, you do bad things, you'll get bad karma. But you'll be rotating in this cycle only, right? You do lots of good things, what will happen? You'll get promoted to the, like we in the previous verses we have discussed, you'll do extremely good things, then you'll be promoted to the spiritual world, and then Chine Punya Martyaloka Vishanti, you'll enjoy there like a king because you've done all great activities, distributed so many things, done all types of charity. You'll be given the position in the heavenly planets, you'll enjoy very nicely. Once all that karma is vanquished, like it's a bank account, right, like all that karma is depleted, then you again come back to this material world, and then again the same birth, death, old age, disease, right? So the modes of material nature will keep you in this cycle only. But you want to come out of this cycle, right? Do you want to again come back, grow, put into a mother's stomach, come out, study, then study more, then get married, then study more, then apply for jobs and this and that, and make all this property and save and all of this stuff, one day dwindle and die? And in between do all these good things, and you accumulate good and bad karma because you do good and bad things, and then again next life again rotate in this cycle, and the cycle is going on for millions and millions of, not even years, like I don't even know what's the calculation, right, like in numbers that we can't even calculate. Forever we're rotating in a cycle. You do extreme bad things, next time you're born as a frog, or if born as a deer, or if you do good things then demigod and something like that, so we are just stuck. It looks very nice that, if most of the people who do good things, right, they are not doing it in the consciousness of the Lord will appreciate me. They're doing it in the conscious that my future will be nice, my destiny will be good, right? They are putting themselves in the center. Sure, 10 people are getting help, but they're putting themselves in the center, and they're considerate about themselves. But if you're really considerate about yourself, you're really you want to do good for yourself, then you have to break out from the cycle, and we need to develop that relationship with the Lord. That is why Prabhupada says that, if we discussed, I think this in the, if I'm not wrong, third chapter, people do different yagnas for getting wealth and health and good wife and good husband and this and that, all of that stuff. But these are all material at the end of the day. Nothing is bringing you closer to the Lord, right? We need to do activities that bring us closer to the Lord, so that we break out from this cycle and have a relationship with the Lord. That's the end. This is a gist, it's a gist. But as we go more towards chapter 13 or 14, the three modes of material nature is described even more in detail. But this I just gave it in a small, if that helps.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna. Okay, so I think we'll end our class today. Hare Krishna.